B3DXS from Tamaka Wireless Association. So, what I've got in this little box right here, you may not believe it, but this is a complete 40 meter single sideband phone transceiver in this little box right here. That's it. This is the Bitx40 from hfsigs.com. It was designed, let me see if I can find the gentleman's name, by Ashhar Farhan. VU2 ESE, that's Victor Uniform 2 Echo Sierra Echo in India. And he designed this to be inexpensive, hackable, and pretty much ready to go out of the box. All you need is an antenna. Now, it is QRP. Oh, you do need a power supply for it. 12 volts. It is QRP. It's like 7.5 watts, 7 watts, 10 watts, somewhere in that area. But the remarkable thing about it is the price. $59 right to your door. In fact, two of them cost me, I bought two. Two of them cost me $138, and that included shipping. Took about a week to get here. A week or so after I ordered it, DHL courier rolled up on my front door. Ding dong! Left the package in between the screen door and the front door, and there it is. So let's pull the camera over here, point it right down at the table, and we'll get to unboxing this. Alright, so the Bitx40 shows up just like this. Little plastic case. You can use it as a chassis, but I've seen some other videos online of people who used this plastic box as a chassis for the radio, and it was pretty crowded in there. On top, there's a packing list, and then you get to what's actually in the box. So first off, we have a Arduino board, which is the display. Easy enough, simple enough. And then you get to the guts and the actual transceiver board itself. You have several multi-pin connectors, mounting holes, grounding holes, big heat sink. And then in here are all the smaller parts required to complete the construction of the radio. Here's 7 or 8 2-pin connectors, some 3-pin connectors, a 5-pin, an 8-pin, and this is everything you need wiring wise to connect up the radio, or rather to connect the two boards together, as well as the speaker, the microphone, and whatever else. You've got a 12 volt DC plug with the pins to solder the wires onto to connect up to the board. A 10K log, whoop, let me pull that lock ring off there. A 10K log pot with on-off for power and volume. A 10K linear pot to tune the frequency of the radio. A BNC connector for the antenna lead. Two QIC microphone and speaker or earphone jacks. Numerous standoffs, mounting screws for the standoffs and nuts to lock them down, and a 100 microfarad capacitor that needs to be soldered onto the on-off volume pot. Whoop. One other really small part is a push button for push to talk. And the last thing that I found was really cool was this little button is actually the microphone. So this radio, I'm dying to get mine built. I've got some plans. I'm doing some research on an antenna right now, but give me 1 second to box all this back up and we'll talk about what I'm going to do with the other one. So here's what I plan to do with the other one. This is basically a plastic 50 caliber ammo can. And what I want to do with this is I want to turn it into a 40 meter QRP go box or go kit, however you want to, phrase it. So, because you can see, here's my other Bitx40 board. This has, I haven't made any connections. I just spaced out or pinned out the wires that, connect to it. Here's the box with the Radino board and all the other smaller parts like the pots and the mic and speaker connections or headphone connections, as well as the standoffs and everything else. So what I plan to do with this is, because it only requires 12 volts, and this is just a ballpark plan. I still have to finalize everything because the antenna that I'm going to use with this is going to determine the final layout within the box itself. Because what I would really love is some kind of telescoping vertical that would fit down to, the diagonal space I have here. Then I could fabricate some mounts, clip the antenna in here, get two 12 volt batteries, put them in parallel here, build a plate with some standoffs to cover the batteries to mount the board to, and then another plate closer to the top to mount all the connection points, such as the plug for the microphone and for the speaker and for the potentiometers for tuning and everything. But like I said, this is just a very ballpark plan for what I'm going to do with this eventually. This box has a rubber gasket in it, so when you close it and seal it up, it's more or less, I won't say watertight, but it's definitely water resistant. So that's my plan for this Bitx40 QRP board. When I got into ham radio, one of the things that I really liked about it was the emphasis on being self-sufficient and the emergency communications. That's one of the things that really attracted me to amateur radio. Of course, I discovered that there's so many other facets and so much other fun stuff with it. Getting out with my local club, W3CMA, the Tamaka Wireless Association, getting out for field days, meetings, work parties, setting things up for field days. It's truthfully been a wonderful experience for me. And I can't thank those guys in that club enough just for being there and being hams. And that's one of the reasons we started this YouTube channel. Education, expand amateur radio, get people involved with the hobby. So I would love for Field Day 2018 to be able to take my little 40 meter low power Go kit out and start making some contacts. But for this little video, this was just to introduce you to the Bitx40 board from HF SIGs, Hotel Foxtrot, Sierra India Golf Sierra.com. I mean, you can look them up online. It's just read through the hackable stuff about this radio. The Radino board actually has a micro USB connection for programming. So it's hackable. I haven't even thought about doing that yet. I just want to get this thing up and running and make it work for right now. So until next, I'm Jim, KC3DXS. Thanks for tuning in to the W3CMA Tamaka Wireless Association's YouTube channel, and 7.3s. We'll see you later.